Good day. Welcome to another chapter of To Kill a Mockingbird, chapter 28. This is Halloween night, the night of the pageant, and as you've read it, it's also the night of the attack. Let's go ahead and look into this. We start off with the children walking to school. Jem walks Scout to school. He's going to the pageant as well. Remember, Atticus and Aunt Alexandria are staying at home. We know it's a warm night. In literature, a lot of times authors will use the weather to symbolize the mood of what's going on. I don't know if that's the case here, but we can talk about that with some other story. There's talking about being scared and kind of laughing about how they were scared when they were younger about Haynes and hot steams and so forth. But Jem's escorting her, and they get tripped up underneath the huge oak tree, right? And this is the oak tree that had the knothole with the presents in it that the kids had found coins and gum and watches and all sorts of things. And they were reminiscing about their childhood almost. And in a way, tonight is going to end their childhood, right? At the end of the last chapter, the narrator said that it was their longest journey together. And so there's some reminiscing as they're going towards school here. It's cooler underneath the tree, they noticed, after Scout had been tripped up and stuff. And then, we're expecting something to happen because of all this ominous stuff. And bam, Cecil Jacobs comes out of nowhere, scares them to death, right? He thought it was great, and Scout had to admit he got him a good one. And later on in the school, Cecil had the right to tell everybody about it because he got him good. So they're at the pageant, and there's all sorts of things going on. Jem takes off to be with kids his own age. Scout and Cecil hang out together, and they each have 30 cents, and all of the attractions are a nickel apiece, so they can do 6 things each. They're doing silly games like a House of Horrors where they go through and feel somebody's heart and it felt like a liver, or feel the intestines of something and it's really cold spaghetti. Here's the eyeballs and there's grapes with the skins peeled off, whatever. But you do that in a closed box and it sounds kind of spooky, and it is kind of weird. They were going to bob for apples. Scout wanted to do this, and Cecil Jacobs says that his parents wouldn't let him because it's unsanitary, eating and drinking after these other people and stuff, which is kind of interesting. And we get some commentary about climbers and people trying to get up into a higher social situation, and I'm just going to ignore all that right now, but realize it is there. But the whole irony that bobbing for apples is unsanitary, yet touching raw liver and raw food isn't, I find that kind of funny. So it's time for the pageant to start, and the kids go backstage. Scout gets her costume on. She's waiting for her cue to go on, and she's just listening to things drone on. She's tired, right, because it is very late, and she finds out she can put her legs up in her costume and just kind of sit there, and so she falls asleep. Right? She's supposed to wait for Miss Merriweather to yell pork, and then she's supposed to go out and line up as a ham, and what happens is she slept right through it. And so the play is going on. Scout wakes up later toward the grand finale, and she goes out, starts tripping things up, and she becomes the laughing stock of the town, basically. People are just rolling out in laughter, and people think that she ruined the play. Other people are just laughing. Judge Taylor had to go outside. He was laughing so hard and had to take his heart medicine pills. So it was really kind of an interesting thing, and this mortified Scout. So after everything's done, Jem and Scout waited until after everyone left so Scout wouldn't have to hear anything about what she had done. So they were going to be the last ones to leave. She forgot her shoes. So they decided to go back the next day to get the shoes and have the janitor let her in. So they're walking home, and it's crazy dark. It's like even darker than it was before. There's no moon, there's clouds covering everything. It's just dark. And as they're walking home, they hear something following them. When they stop, it stops. When they walk, it walks. And they assume it's Cecil Jacobs. Okay? And Scout is like, how can they know what's going on? How do they know to stop when we stop? And Jem's like, they can see you. Because of this costume Scout is wearing, it's got this luminescent paint on it for the fat streaks in the ham. She's glowing in the dark, kind of. So she can be seen. Jem is staying calm through this. Scout's worried. Okay? Scout thinks Jem is worried, but it's really her that's worried in this. And then all of a sudden, it gets closer, and somebody takes off running after them, and Jem just yells, "Run, run, Scout, run, run, run." So they take off running. And this is when the attack happens. Okay? Scout fell. There's metal on metal. There's a costume crushed. Now, the description of what's going on is really fast-paced. Okay? We don't know exactly what's going on. It's not very clear. Just like if you're really being attacked out of the blue, we don't know exactly what's going on. She heard scraping. She heard fighting. Jem helped her up, but then as soon as that happened, he was pulled back. Scout was grabbed. Right? We heard scuffling. We heard Jem scream. Go back and reread the first sentence of the novel. Go ahead. I'll wait. How did Jem get his arm badly broken at the elbow? Here we go. Right? There was a crunching sound, and he screamed. And then Scout was grabbed. And then whoever was attacking Scout pulled the attacker off. Somebody pulled the attacker off. She thinks it was Jem, but doesn't know for sure. And then she heard somebody wheeze, and the night was still. And then we heard heavy breathing, and then she realized there are really 4 people under the tree. We don't know who those 4 people are yet, but there's 4. Scout felt a body, right? She was feeling around with her toe. She had no shoes on. She smelled whiskey and stubble on a face. That was not Jem. And in the distance, under the light, close to her house, there was a man carrying Jem. Scout got home. They were calling Dr. Reynolds. They were calling the sheriff, right? Someone's been after my kids, is what Atticus had said. And then at home, Scout thinks Jem is dead. 3 times she asks, is Jem dead? Is Jem dead? Right? She thinks he's dead. Right? He's unconscious, and we don't know what happened to him. Scout looks mighty beat up. That was the doctor. We looked at her and was like, knew she was beat up because she was. Dr. Reynolds said that Jem's arm is broken, and the sheriff shows up. And there is another man in the bedroom with Jem. It's a countryman. He's the one who brought Jem home. He's standing in the corner. And the sheriff went back to the scene and found a dress, a costume, a piece of the costume, and Bob Ewell dead, right, with a kitchen knife stuck in his ribs. And that's how the chapter ends. The next couple of chapters, we're going to fish out what actually happened, and you probably know who the countryman is who is standing in the corner of Jem's room. Have a great day.